Thank you.
I welcome you, my dear friends, to our Voice of His Kingdom weekly devotion. Today we shall be looking at Genesis chapter 50 from verses 6 to 9. Let's read our text together. Pharaoh said, "Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do." So Joseph went up to bury his father. All Pharaoh's officials accompanied him, the dignitaries of his court, and all the dignitaries of Egypt, besides all the members of Joseph's household, and his brothers and those belonging to his father's household. Only their children and their flocks and herds were left in Goshen. Chariots and horsemen also went up with him. It was a very large company. Let's look at the background to our text. My friends, after prophesying upon his children and blessing them, Jacob died after living for 147 years. He died in Egypt in a foreign land, but as we can see, his burial was that befitting a royalty. God made him royalty, and his son Joseph accentuated it. The Bible said in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 from verses 1 and 2, he said, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot." The book of Genesis began with creation of all things, especially that of man, and is ending with the death and burial of Jacob, whose name was changed by God to Israel, which means one who strives with God and prevails. As per God's plan and promise to Abraham in Genesis 15:13, Jacob and his family came to dwell in Egypt, and there he died. Let's look at some key lessons from our text. We can learn a lesson about death, and that is, no matter how long we live, death will come knocking one day. This is for the righteous and also for the unrighteous. After Adam's rebellion against God in Genesis chapter 3, God made this decision. In Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, "Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with man forever, for he is mortal. His days will be 120 years. So here God sets the limit of man's existence on the earth after sin contaminated his relationship with man. Psalm 90 verse 10, the Bible says that the length of our days is 70 years or 80, if we have the strength. Yet their span is but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass, and we fly away. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 also tells us that there is a time to be born and a time to die. So when one dies, he or she passes to another life, and the Bible tells us that it is a time of judgment, a time of recrimination. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 10 says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive what is due to him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." And now this is for the righteous dead. The unrighteous dead, of course, obviously immediately goes to hell. Jacob lived for 147 years, but death came one day. His burial plans was glorious, as we can see from our context. But what was most important was his final destination. Let's look at the applications. Jesus said that his second coming will be like a thief in the night. And most often, death is exactly like that. It creeps in unannounced and unexpected most times. Matthew 24 verse 42 to 43. He says, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let his house to be broken into." So we are commanded to live a life of readiness. This means daily life of righteousness and love for God. Let's walk with God daily like Enoch did for 300 years. Enoch walked with God. And he was no more because God took his righteous soul away. And may the Lord help us as we walk with him every day. Thank you, my friends, for watching, and God bless you.